In 2008, Boss Corporation released a twin pedal named SL-20 Slicer, a so-called audio pattern processor. It is the predecessor of the current SL-2, released by Boss November 2022. Being a twin pedal, SL-20 weighed approximately 1.1 kilos and dominated any moderately sized pedal board. At Summer NAMM in 2008, Boss made a demonstration video of it. This video was released on YouTube a couple of months later, and it didn't receive any comments in the first 10 years or so. Then suddenly, in 2018, as if the news of this pedal had finally reached the right guy, one dude under the strange moniker Beach Doggo, he commented, "I need this in my life." Note that the comment at some point was edited, hence the original comment might have been something entirely different. For example, that he didn't have a life up to this point, and that by seeing this video about the SL-20, it changed everything. However, the sliced sounds emanating from his guitar did have an impact. I have proof. You see, while it took 10 years for this video to receive its first comment, it took 11 years for it to receive a second one. And this second comment is actually the last comment. Yes, this demonstration video has received 2 comments in total during its 14 years on YouTube.
The new SL-20 slicer, the green machine, the chopping machine. Thank you very much.
Initially, Boss, a company owned by Roland Corporation, made all of its pedals in Japan. That changed in 1991 when the production was moved to Taiwan. It is from this latter period SL-20 Slicer belongs. As every pedal Boss released between 1991 and 2019, SL-20 was made in Taiwan. This is, however, not entirely true. The famous Vasakraft series that was launched in 2014 is altogether made in Roland's native country, Japan. But what happened in 2019? In 2019, Boss moved its production of pedals yet again, this time to Malaysia. Actually, this shift to Malaysia was preceded as early as 2015, when Boss started to produce its electrical pianos in Kuala Lumpur. The SL-20 is easy to spot on any pedal board, the footprint of which is twice that of the typical form factor of your run-of-the-mill guitar pedal, including those in Boss's own iconic compact series. Now, one may wonder how popular SL-20 became. If we let the number of comments on Boss's release video be the judge, the impact was nil, which, by the way, reminds me of Engelbert Humperdinck's impact on hippie culture in the 1960s. Nil. Well, how many pedal boards did the SL-20 eventually embellish? And perhaps less important, how much published music featured the SL-20?
Want to inject some adrenaline into your sound? Instantly turn your guitar, bass, keyboard, DJ rig, or vocal into a pulsating groove instrument with the all-new SL-20 Slicer twin pedal. The SL-20 chops up your audio into rhythmic slices as you play, creating real-time grooves that are perfect for today's sample and beat-driven music. The basic slicer effect has been around for a few years in various Boss and Roland products, but with the SL-20, Boss has taken slice and dice audio to an all-new level, transforming the slicer from a cool sound effect into a fun and inspiring instrument in its own right. The SL-20 is the slicer reinvented. Grooves with constantly evolving tone colors.
A review by Premier Guitar published October 12, 2008 might give us an indication of how guitar players around the world reacted to the release of the SL-20. In the conclusion, the reviewer states, "When I first opened the box, I thought, when would I use this? But it took just a little knob twisting and tweaking before this reviewer changed his mind." He wrote, "From the very beginning, the slicer is a trip." The initial perplexion of this particular reviewer was substituted by curiosity, and he ends the review saying that he was desperately trying to keep from having to give the SL-20 back. Now, it took Boss almost precisely 14 years to release a new version of the SL-20. The SL-2 released November 2022, now in the compact series. And the funny thing is that I am now pairing the successor of SL-20 with a complex granular synth that is even smaller than a modern version of the SL-20. It's called Lemon Drop, and it is emblematic of Moore's law. In short, that the process of miniaturisation and processing power in the digital world is exponential. Lemon Drop and SL-2 are both a consequence of this phenomenon, and they are actually much smaller than they appear. What decides the form factor is that they are supposed to be operated by human beings. That is, the limitations of man-determined interface. But there's more to this pairing than meets the eye, and I am of course not making a pun on Moore's law when I'm saying this. You see, if we ask ourselves, what is it that SL-2 does? Well, what is it? It slices the audio coming into it in certain ways, and it is using ramping and waveforms to do or make rhythms. But the key word is slicing. Slices are small grains, that is, small samples of the incoming audio, and that is exactly the word one would use to describe the key element at the heart of Lemon Drop, it being a granular synthesizer. Hence, it takes grains or slices, if you like, small samples of some audio, internal or external, and play those grains back according to a set of parameters. A relatively large and complex set of parameters compared to that used by the SL-2. What I'm saying is that Boss SL-2 and Lemon Drop were separated at birth, so to speak, not visually speaking, but internally. What they share is the grain or the slice, but their way of processing it is a magnitude of complexity apart. The question I am asking, will their technical similarities result in a happy ending? Musically speaking, of course.
Keyboards, vocals, and MP3 player. The SL-20 is ideal for adding some high-octane juice to any sound.